Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Settle down and close your faces as I wrap you in the heartwarming tale of how my cat Shadow got a triple kill in an infection game of Halo 3. Allow me to set the scene for you. For those of you who don't know, Halo is a first-person shooter, and Infection is a game type that you play multiplayer, where a couple of people start as zombies, and it is their job to kill and infect the humans, and the humans' job is to survive the round. I was playing online with my mate, who was chatting with the mic. I was sat in the living room, on the stool, leaned forward, controller held low, psyched up, mentally prepared and in the zone. The game starts, and my mate and I spawn in on the human team. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Shadow. Don't really notice him very much, because I was so focused, so mentally prepared. We start in the initial safe zone, checking the entrances, ready to call out any zombie that comes in. Shadow walks across, and as he often did, brushed past my legs for a nuzzle, and kept going across. Because I was holding the controller so low, he brushed past the trigger, which made my character throw a grenade. And that grenade got 3 kills. Unfortunately, 2 of those kills were my teammates, and the third kill was me. Shadow got me kicked from the game for team killing before I had seen a single zombie. I have that game recorded, it's about 12 seconds. I sat there dumbstruck. He just looked up at me with his big bright eyes, no idea what he just done. I explained to my mate, I'm like, what had just happened? Because he knows. And we sat there wetting ourselves laughing for a good while. All I could do was pick him up and give him a great big hug, and then wait for my mate to finish the game so I could rejoin and get back in it. But when I did, I just couldn't get in the zone. Yeah, I was laughing too much. All of that mental preparation out of the window. That's not the only time that I've had to be mentally prepared around Shadow. It's the Easter holidays last year, he had to be put down. It was the last week term, beginning of that week, I got a phone call from my mum to say he wasn't well and had to be taken to the vets for observation, and that he might not see the week out. Tried to prepare myself for the worst, but I just couldn't. All I could do was hope for the best. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's good to stay positive, but it is important to be prepared for what might happen. Now, I phoned up later in the week to see if the situation had changed, and it had. And he was to be put down the day I got back. At that point, I had no choice. I had to prepare for the worst. Turns out it's really easy to think you're prepared for something when you're distant from it. It was a somber drive back, but and when I got in, I just kind of, before I unpacked, I spent a little time with Shadow. He didn't look well, you know. It had to happen, and I thought I accepted that because I thought I was prepared. You know, later on, I spent some time with him, having unpacked before we took him back to the vet, and he had to hop off from where I was sitting and go to the kitchen and get some water. And seeing him struggle off the chair and limp to the kitchen is one of the most heartbreaking things I have ever seen. Could barely say a word when we drove to the vets. Barely say anything on the way back either. We buried him when we got back, and I thought I had made peace with it. Tried to prepare myself not to miss him and just get on with it. I do miss him dearly. I still do. But it's funny, you can't predict when that missing is actually going to hit you. It barely bothered me over the summer. I was there the whole time, and obviously he wasn't. It was including a point where it was just me now, it was just me and the other cats, because my parents and sister were off on holidays and going cats respectively. It was only one time over the summer it actually hit me. I was feeding the other cats, I opened the cupboard to get food, and I saw Shadow's bowl sitting in there. I did have to take a moment. And it kind of caught me by surprise. Sometimes it surprises me just how much I miss him. I first came up with the idea for this feature a couple of months ago, and when I was writing that first iteration, writing about the Halo story, it really threw me. I really missed it, I wasn't expecting it. That's partly why it took me so long to write it. You know, I thought I tried to prepare myself not to miss him, but I ended up missing him, and that threw me. All of that preparation again, gone. If you take something away from the speech, don't let it be that preparation isn't important, because it most definitely is. But you've got to know the limits. There are things you can't do. I know for a fact that I can't predict every outcome. And I can't prepare myself not to do something. You can't predict every outcome. It's simply impossible. There will always be things you don't see coming. If you try, you will think you're ready for anything, and something will hit you that you don't expect. And it will throw you. because you don't expect it. You think you're prepared. You can't prepare yourself not to think something. If I tell you, don't think about elephants, the first thing you think of is elephants, simply because I mentioned it. But that doesn't matter. That's not what preparation is about. Preparation is about being flexible enough to deal with whatever comes. You don't know what's coming, but whatever does happen, you can react to it. How you react to stuff is more important than the stuff that happens. I know this now, that's what Shadow was taught me. I don't know when missing Shadow will hit me, but now I do know that I just need to take that moment to miss him, to feel that, and then I can move on. If I try and muddle through, it will impact what I do. It can help to focus on the positives. With Shadow, I think about the Halo anecdote, other fun things like that. Or just the general moments that were quite sweet with him. There's not a huge point to them, they're just nice. Like last Christmas before last, he'd come up to my room in the morning, just cuddle with my pillow next to me. Little things like that just make you smile. And you don't think about it. Sometimes you do have to be stern with yourself. It's not always possible. We all have good days and bad days. Days when we can keep going, days when we can't. But sometimes you do just have to look in the mirror and say, this isn't going to stop me right now. I had to do that when I was writing this speech. It's why it took me so long. But I was able to push myself to write it. Because I liked the idea. I thought it was a good idea. I wanted to get it done. And that can be enough to get you through something. The important point is there's no right way to react to something. It's a personal and situational thing. You've got to do what works for you. Preparation is important. Life's going to throw stuff at you, and you need to be able to react to it and get through it. But you don't always have to come out on top. Sometimes you do have to take that moment to be beaten by something. You can pick yourself up and rebalance yourself. As I said, it's a personal thing, it's a situational thing, but one thing is pretty universal. Life isn't always easy, and you don't always get to win. So, be prepared for stuff not to go right. But never let that stop you hoping